Hello, gorgeous women of the Woman Masterclass. Whoa, watching all those numbers go up at the beginning, I was like, this is so exciting. I'm over the moon. This is our first free masterclass of 2023, and I am so excited for this. Before I get started, I'd love to know who here it's their first ever masterclass with me. If you've never done a free masterclass with me before, this is your new first one. Oh, this is so exciting. Oh my gosh. Welcome to your first ever masterclass. This is so fantastic. Thank you for being here. And I'm seeing familiar faces already. For those of you who actually do this with me a lot, thank you for being back. It means so much to see your faces again. This masterclass is a huge deal. I have got very big plans for us. This is going to be a very, very big masterclass. This is 5 days of some of the greatest material. It's such an important masterclass, and there's things I want to share with you before we dive in. So I'm just going to share a few things with you, and then we're going to jump right into the content. So first things first, I want to let you know that every time we go live, the first 1,000 people can be on Zoom and everyone else will be in a Facebook group. So if you try to join the Zoom and it's not letting you, it may just be that we've hit capacity. But I mean, the group is going to be fantastic on live stream as well. So whatever feels good to you, if you prefer to be here on Zoom, I suggest you show up a little earlier. Just to be sure, but if not, the Facebook group is going to be fantastic as well. Everything is always going to be reposted on YouTube, so you can rewatch with subtitles, or you can fast forward me, sometimes with the 2-speed or the 4-speed, if that helps you get to do that. So if you do want to watch on YouTube after, you're going to get to do this. This masterclass lasts 5 days, and then there's going to be a Shop With Me event on the 15th. And then from that date, there's going to be 2 weeks to watch the replays. So you will be able to watch this more than once. After that, it's going to be posted to my membership. And so there's only 2 weeks to watch the replays once the masterclass is over. Then it will be uploaded to the membership. So I do suggest, if you can, to stay up to speed with it. If you can be live with us, the energy of this thing is going to be incredible. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities for you to create connections and meet incredible people if you show up and do some of the coursework or the introspection work that I'm going to give. This is actually great networking space. I suggest highly that you stay with the pace. It's 1 live a day, 5 days. You can do it. If you plug into this energy, I honestly very much so believe that there will be your life before this masterclass and your life after it. It's this kind of a conversation. And I'm bringing my everything. Like, my emotions are already here, and we haven't even started the masterclass. Like, I can feel it in my throat. This is such a huge container, and it is a reclamation for me, this masterclass. This is such a huge deal. Every single thing we're going to talk about here is a huge deal. The timing, everything about this masterclass is absolutely spectacular. And so I want to share something with you. You're going to be able to watch the live streams. As I said, you get to join the Zoom, you get to watch on Facebook, you get to watch the replays. This is all perfect. If you are looking for where the replays are after, we will be putting everything that's important featured to the top of this group, but they're also going to be in the guide sections. My team's going to create shareable quotes that you can reshare. We have I'm in graphics also, where I just registered. If you want to celebrate that on social media, I know a lot of people like to do that. You get to do that. So there's going to be different ways that you can, share and participate with this masterclass. But I want to share something very important with you. This is not a numbers game for me. This masterclass is sacred for me. And although it is an honor for me and a privilege for me every time someone shares my work with someone new who gets to meet me for the first time, it's not so much about the fact that you share, it's how you do it that matters to me. This is not just a free masterclass. This is a conversation for women that I think has the power to massively impact the world. If while we're doing this masterclass, you realize just the amplitude of the work we're doing here, and you do share from a place of heart, not all up in your head, not, oh yay, like not high excited, oh my gosh, I'm in a free masterclass energy, but from the depth of your heart, from one woman to another, a rite of passage into something beautiful, an understanding of what this work really means. And why this matters for me is in the last masterclass that we did, we ended up having 13,000 people in the group. And I'm happy to hold space like that. And my team has got your back. We're capable of holding that kind of size masterclass. But the reason some people joined was not the right reason. It's not just because it's free information. I want people to be here because it's free. I want them to be here because of what it is. So if you do share, it's not so much because it's free, more so what it's about. And my hope is that you really get that when you do decide to share, and it comes from a heart-centered place. If you bring one guest, two guests to this, and it comes from a heart-centered place, I will feel so grateful, far more than a mass share to get tons of people in the door. This really is such an incredible conversation. And if we show up with our energy the way I know we can, I think the ripple we will make in these next 5 days is going to make such a difference on this planet. So I already want to thank you for being here so much, because just your presence here for something of this nature means more than you know. And we're going to have an incredible time together during this time. Now, I have been doing free masterclasses for quite a few years in my life. And one of the reasons I feel it's important for me to keep doing these is when I first started my journey, I could not afford one program. I had $0. And so part of the reason I keep doing these free masterclasses is so that women who cannot yet purchase personal development have a world-class place to land. I don't do anything less because it's free. You're going to get my entire heart, my mind, my spirit, my soul. You're going to get everything from me in this masterclass. There are going to be opportunities for me to share with you how you can work with me, but those won't be while I'm speaking in the live sessions. It'll either be after I'll say, okay, I'm going to speak about something now, we're done for the day. It'll be at the end, or on the shop with me. And so if you decide you want to listen, you get to stay and listen. And if you just want to listen to the free content, you just listen to the free content. I'm really grateful that you're here. Very important thing in this group. I want it to feel here like you are respected, and that your space is respected and your time is respected. And so what I'm asking you, this is very important, is that you do not DM people in the group, that you don't try to sell your stuff to people in the group. There is a really beautiful reason we're here. And I don't want to compromise that in any way. There's going to be so many opportunities to network. But if you listen to what I'm saying in the masterclass, you're going to see what has its place and what hasn't. There is an absolute zero bullying tolerance here in this masterclass. If there is anything that does not resonate with the tone of this masterclass, you will be removed from the group. And this is also not a place to be sneaky and salesy, but it will be a place to be celebrated. And you're going to have so many places to share your voice, but if you do sneaky things, your posts might be deleted. Just honor the space. We're doing something really good here. Let's make sure every participant actually has a great time. Okay. My team, I want to share something with you. I have actually just spent the last 48 hours with my team. Some of them had been working with me for 2 years and I had never met them in person. I got to squeeze them. I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning last night with 6 of them sitting at the table talking about this masterclass. I don't think I've ever been so moved by the work that I do. I'm going to cry already. We're just already starting. I don't know that I've ever been so moved. Actually getting to see the people who hold the space with me was one of the most extraordinary things ever. I have a beautiful team. I can say we have a family business. Every single person in the Alpha Fem team is either my family or family of my family. And so this is a family business. Everybody is so committed to this vision for all of us in this masterclass from the bottom of our hearts. Has been a work of art in progress, and we're over the moon to share this with you. If you need anything during the masterclass, you can always reach out to our team. One thing we do that's very different, if you've never worked with me before, if this is your first masterclass, is we are completely hands-on. This means if you need something, just DM me or DM TheAlpha FemmeTeam. You can write in Instagram, Melanie Ann Layer, Alpha Femme, or we are Alpha Femme on Instagram, directly in the inbox. They're right there for you. So you can also email hello@alphafemme. We're everywhere. My team is everywhere, so you don't need to be looking too far. They've got your back. This should be really streamlined and easy for you to find. But if you've got questions about programs or something that you'd like to do or learn, just reach out. They've got you. My intention is that in this space, you experience something you maybe have never experienced before online, something beyond anything that's ever been done. My intention for this masterclass is big, very big. So I'm going to dive right in. How we're going to start this off is with a conversation that is a little edgy and a little scary for me sometimes, but one that I think is very, 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 very necessary at this stage in the game. I have built this company now, I want to say over the last 10 years, it's been a work in progress, 10 years to get to where I am in business. But the Alpha Femme brand was created in 2017. I started dabbling online in 2016. Alpha Femme 2017 is when we brought it online. And what I realize is there's been so many different versions of me as I've created this business. There's been so many different versions of me as I've grown my company. There's been so many different versions of me with my fiance through our relationship. We're celebrating 10 years together. There's been so many versions of me throughout so many different parts of my life. And I realized that the information that was in the world didn't just magically appear for me. It was always there. It's just, I wasn't available to hear it. There's things that were there, I just wasn't available to see them. And that feels so odd to say, because back then, if you would have told me there were things right in front of my face I couldn't see, I probably would have been annoyed by that or offended by that. But when I look back in hindsight and I ask myself, how is it that I didn't know what I know now? I realize there's a reason for this. So I'm going to share with you what this reason is. We all have a capacity to comprehend the files or the codes that exist on this planet. Information files about relationships, confidence, love, well-being, boundaries, money, business, friendship, womanhood, conversations. We have a certain bandwidth as a human being of what downloads into our system. And when we haven't really grown ourselves yet to the way we're going to be, or the grandness that we can be, there is an amount of capacity that we have to download certain files into our consciousness. And so let's say that it's a huge, huge file. At the beginning of your personal development journey, you may only get a piece of the file. There's nothing wrong with the file, and there's nothing wrong with you, but the bandwidth to download the file is not full. And so there's different ways to be a mentor and to be a coach. There's different approaches. One of the approaches to say, share smaller files. I've never shared smaller files. I share big files. And I know that you may not get everything I say. Some stuff may go completely over your head. You'll think, what the heck is this woman talking about? And then the next thing I'll be like, okay, that makes sense to me. There's things that you might not like. There's things that might be perfect for you. Either way, I'm going to share the full file of how I've experienced the world and my life through this masterclass in order to support all of us. Whatever is right for you is right for you. Whatever it isn't. Whatever you're ready for, you're ready for. And whatever you're not, you're not. Take what you can get. And as much as you can stretch your mind, come for what you came to get, and you're gonna get what was meant for you in this masterclass. Now, I don't expect you to agree with everything I say either. What I love about this work is sometimes you find your truth against mine. I'll say something and you'll be like, I realize in hearing that, I believe the opposite. That's perfect. The whole goal of this work is for us to find our unique truth, to contemplate things about life that actually make us a little wiser, a little stronger, a little more capable to do big things. And I know that these conversations can take us so far. It's beyond what anyone can comprehend. But for that, we've got to keep an open mind and not worry that anyone's trying to make our mind up for us. I'm not trying to make my mind up for you. I want you to feel like you can be in a conversation with me. This whole masterclass, if you can, feel like I'm sitting across from you in your living room and we're just having a contemplative conversation where you can have discernment for yourself. Like intuitively, there'll be things you're like, yes, this is for me. Intuitively, you'll have things that are not for you. Let yourself guide yourself, and whatever's meant for you will come through. This is a part where things got a little complicated with me over time, for me over time. So I want to share something kind of vulnerable with you. When I first started doing this work, it was so easy for me to connect with people because I was an underdog. Like I had the dark horse thing. I was just starting. I wasn't very good on the live streams. I was doing my best, but my heart was in the right place. And I was so dedicated to this work. I gave my whole life to it. People could click with me so fast because it just felt like us, like just no separation. And the more my business has grown, the more sometimes there is that little piece of separation. And what I would love to get to experience with you during this masterclass is for you to literally eradicate in your mind anything that separates us in time, in success and experience. Like if it's possible for us to just be two women sitting across from each other, having a conversation about womanhood, and for you to get what's meant for you in here, and for you to think about your own stuff and make your own way, we're going to do something so big together. It's going to be out of this world. There's a lot of people here, but it won't always feel that way. If I nail this, there will be moments where we're talking and you're like, there is nobody else here. You will have space for your own thoughts. You will have space for your own contemplations. You will have space to think and to feel and to decide what this all means to you. And if we can do that, this is going to be one heck of a masterclass for you. If you can just isolate in whenever it's time and really click with the fact that we're just having a conversation, it's going to be kind of mind-blowing what gets to happen for you. And then if you can open yourself up to the group where all the people are and actually go in with the coursework and open yourself up, the amount of connections and networking available is kind of spectacular. So we're going to play with this duality, with these two edges, you and I, and then this entire huge group that's right there for us. That makes me happy. Thank you. Okay. This is something that people have asked me so many times in the last, I want to say 18 months. And it's so interesting how it happens because there's this resistance to my truth here. But people ask me all the time, do you really believe everybody can do this? Because I very often say, if I can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And for some people, that's like, they don't like that I say that. And they've asked me, do you really think that? You think everybody can do this? I feel like, at what point do we listen to all these stories about all these people who were not seen for their worth, underappreciated, misunderstood, not good enough, not pretty enough, not rich enough, not this enough, not talented enough, not enough, who ended up becoming extraordinary? Like, how many stories like this do we need to hear before we start to question whether or not we can all do this? And this was an easier sentence for me to say a little while back, but I want it to be as easy to say now as it was then. But if them, then why not us? Why not us? Why not? Like, what's the reason? Why couldn't we? If it's possible for them, then why not us? If it's possible for me, then why not you? And so I know that historically, when we haven't really had the breakthroughs, when we haven't really had the success, it's so easy to kind of get caught up in that question. Maybe I don't have what it takes. Maybe I'm just not good enough. I didn't have what it takes on paper. And I certainly didn't have the experience of being good enough for any of the things that I've created. But I opened up my mind to something bigger than what was already in front of me, and my entire world changed. I want to invite you into that conversation today. The conversation where we could do something that doesn't make sense. All of us. And I really profoundly believe that. It's some of the people who are the least believed in the world that did some of the most epic things. So how can we not believe in us with this much evidence? Now, does this mean everyone should go full bandwidth right away? Do you hire the top person, the top mentor, grow a huge company tomorrow because you should be able to? That's where discernment comes in. But I believe if you have an intuition deep down that you are supposed to do big things, I believe you. And if we can go with that intuition and then have discernment for what is your correct way, what's your timeline, what's your story going to be, how does it come to be for you, then that's a different conversation. But whether or not you get to have it, whether or not you get to do it, I don't think anyone else in the entire world should have a say about that. Like, that's your choice. You decide. What I want you to be able to reclaim in this masterclass is that us deciding that we get to have everything in our life also means no longer needing other people to tell us we're good enough. And this is a hard one for a lot of women. We're waiting for someone to be proud enough, someone to see the spark, someone to see the light, someone to say, you're different, you're special, you've got this, it's you, you're the one. We're waiting for someone else to tell us that. And until someone can say it and we really feel it, we wait. We wait. We wait. In this masterclass, my hope for you is that you retire waiting. That this is the beginning of the rest of your life at a whole other level. No matter how big you've played, that you meet a new level of you in this masterclass. I have clients that work with me that have jobs and families and don't care about becoming a successful entrepreneur on the internet. They're coming here for their own confidence and their ability to parent in a powerful way, or to break through in relationships and finally let someone in. There's people here who are celebrating $100,000 years in their own businesses, six-figure years. There's people here celebrating six-figure months. There's people celebrating $1 million months. The gap in this room is there's so much space for all of us. And sometimes when we enter a room like this, we compare ourselves instead of realizing that we're a part of a whole. There's an ecosystem in this room, and it's one of the most extraordinary things. If we can actually see that every woman in this space has a power equal but different, something magical to bring to this place, whether it's that you're the bravest woman in the room, whether it's that you're the richest woman in the room, whether it's that you're the one who's the wisest, whether it's the one who's had the most experience in one thing or another thing, we get to learn from each other always. But when we compare each other, we start to chip away at some of the most beautiful parts of us. What I want to see in this masterclass is uniqueness. I want to see your uniqueness. I want you to practice not measuring up against anybody, but instead seeing yourself as a puzzle piece in a beautiful puzzle. We all matter in this group. You matter in this group. And this is an ecosystem of a bigger thing. This is not just a free masterclass on the internet. If you let it be, this is an opportunity for you to see how you actually land in a group of people that you don't know, that would have the power to literally transform your life, your career, your friendships. Like, there's so many people here that could make a difference in your life forever if you allow yourself to open up. It's not an easy thing to do, especially with strangers on the internet. But just out of curiosity, who here has ever had the experience of a stranger becoming a friend extremely fast in their life? You go on a trip, you meet a person there, stays your friend forever. First day of school, you walk in, and the person you meet on the first day of school ends up being your friend forever. Love at first sight, like, it all happens. And so why not here? Why not us? Why not here? Why not? And it's such an easy thing to get caught up sometimes in How is it going to happen? If it can happen, how is it going to happen? How will I know? How do I know it's going to happen? How do I know? Why not? What if it does? This lightheartedness will bring in so much opportunity into your life. What if this is really an opportunity for things to just change for us? What if, why not? And why not us? If you can keep your mind open to this, you're going to start asking yourself good questions during this masterclass. And there is nothing greater in this life than asking yourself good questions, because good questions lead to great answers. And we don't ask ourselves enough good questions. We ask other people questions. How, instead of why. We look surface level for immediate gratification answers instead of actual contemplation on deep, meaningful things. This masterclass is deep and meaningful. And it has the power to make a very, very big difference if you allow yourself to land here as a real person. Now, the internet is a very awesome place, and it also changes people. Have you ever had the experience in your real life? You feel like this is easy for me, and then you get on the internet and you're like, I don't know how to say what I do. I don't know how to introduce myself. I feel like I'm weird. I feel like I don't know. Which picture should I post? What do I say about me? What do I show? What do I say? What's important? What's not important? Am I oversharing? Should I not post that? Editing your post 100 times? That's not the way you are when you bump into a person in life. You just say hi. You just show up. And I think what is so beautiful about the internet is that it can connect people from all over the world. And what is so disappointing with the internet is that people aren't willing to show themselves the way they are on the other side of the screen in their heart. They'll show something they think the world wants to see instead of just showcasing exactly who they are. My challenge for you during this 5 days is that you actually practice forgetting that this is the internet. Actually allowing yourself to be the person you are in your room right now. Not the person you think we need to see on the screen, but actually the person that you are. What would that be like? Just for once, to not need to perform about anything. Just show up and be here completely yourself and see how that feels. To not have to look a certain way on the internet, but to actually just be women together in a group. I asked in the pre-work, I asked women to say in your dream outcome, what would it be like to be a woman? What would it be like, not just for you, but for other people? When you walk into a room, what might it be like? And I honestly was brought to tears with some of the answers. We really do see the future of womanhood the same way. What it is that we all want it. So what's in the way of it? That's what I want to discuss with you today. And how many people, how many women does it take to really make a change? A real one. When you really, really care about it and you really show up, not for the performative reasons, not for the, what can I get out of this? Not for the one-sided thing, like the real genuine connection and can you imagine if we actually made a ripple here? Can you imagine if we actually made a difference here? What might happen for us? If you start to think about these things in this masterclass, it'll go beyond this, because who you are for the rest of the day today, when we're done here, will be changed by this one call. And who you are for the rest of the day tomorrow will be changed by tomorrow's call. And when you compound 5 days, by the end of those 5 days, you may find a piece of you that you hadn't felt in a long time. And that is my hope for this masterclass. I have a unique approach to just about everything. I'm a little bit of a disruptor when it comes to rules, and I've never really liked being told what I can't do. Anytime anyone ever told me something was impossible, I've wanted to test it. People told me it's impossible to be successful on the internet without systems. You need to have systems. You need to create funnels with systems. You need an email list. I remember people telling me, if you want to be a millionaire, you've got to have 100,000 people on an email list. And I was like, I have nobody on an email list. I need to start an email list. Like, how do we do that? You got to write content with hooks, and you've got to, and I was like, that sounds like I'll never be successful if that's how we have to do it. And instead of just listening to the only one way, I said, what if the reason this works for certain people is because they're good at it? And that the people who aren't good at it just need to find another way to do it that they're good at. What if? And so I asked myself what I'm good at. And I realized that what I'm good at is caring about people. And what I'm good at is just sharing without overthinking. And what I'm good at is holding conversations like this. So let me just do that. And we've built a business beyond what I could have ever imagined without all the things I was told I was going to need to do. I've had mentors tell me, you'll never be able to charge this. You'll never be able to make a course about this. Your brand name doesn't work. It needs a better hook. I've been told every single thing I've wanted to do at some point or another would not work until it did. And so I want to inspire you during this masterclass that even the way I say things can be, don't even need to be it. It doesn't need to be the way it is out there, although it can be. It doesn't need to be the way I say, but it can be. You could also discover a whole new way that's your own during this masterclass, and that would also be phenomenal. My hope is that some of the things I say land and you're like, gosh, that would have been great to know. This is very helpful. I'm hoping there's a lot of that. I'm also hoping that your own thoughts bring you to different breakthroughs of your own. But this is a masterclass about truth, because there is no frequency greater on earth than the frequency of truth. You want to learn manifestation, learn the truth. You want to learn confidence, learn what you believe to be the truth about you, and either raise the frequency of it for it to be a better truth, or make peace with the truth you've got and give up on trying to be confident if it's going to be a terrible thing. I see people be so self-deprecating, bashing their head against the wall, trying to figure out why they're not confident. What's the truth about you? The frequency of truth is the most powerful thing. And so if you can be honest in this masterclass for your own self, if you can shed all of the stories, all of the protection that you put, that you think, if, oh gosh, if people knew this, if people thought this about me, if people thought that I had done this, or thought that, if they thought that I have an edge, if they thought, oh, maybe they wouldn't like me, so let me present myself like this, all this performative thing that we do, if we were to strip that away, what would be left? I think we'd be kind of shocked at how amazing we all are. This is coming back to our roots. This is coming back to the basics, and it's reclaiming something that's been ours, that has always been ours, and that's been so, we've been so blindsided, constantly trying to make us not look at the actual power we have, that we're distracted trying to show that we're worthy, that we're good enough, that we're smart enough, that we're capable, when in fact, the only one thing we need is there. It's always been there, and we're going to stop fighting to have it. And instead, we're just going to realize we've got it, and we're going to bring it back to the surface. Every single one of you is perfect like that. This is one of the greatest revelations I think I've had in this work, is that we go so far outside of ourselves trying to look for perfect, and it's like we're as perfect as we can be. The rest is, how happy can you be? How strong can you be? How wise can you be in your perfection of your uniqueness of yourself that no one else will ever understand, that no one else will ever be able to get who you are? You're perfect. And then what else do you want? There's nothing wrong with any of us. There's nothing broken about any of us. This is not a journey of fixing anything. It's just a journey of going to get whatever we desire. Those things, they're a co-creation between the perfection that we are and all the things out there we need to believe we're a match for. And so these conversations are maybe even simpler than you may have experienced in the past. One thing that kind of blew my mind when I started going deep into this work is the realization that if I'm already everything I need, then I don't need to be working necessarily on doing more. I need to just work on my belief about me and my truth about me. And where did all the truth about me that I have now come from? Like, who created all these limitations for me? And the craziest thing is we did it. It's the women that have the greatest things to say about the other women. It's the women that do that. And we do this because we think I need to be a certain way. Like I did this to myself before I became successful. I used to think, in order to be successful, and tell me if you've ever done this, in order to be successful, I'm going to need to get a really powerful morning routine. Like, I'm going to have to be organized in the morning. I'm going to have to do things differently in the morning. In order to be successful, I'm going to need to learn to be more confident. In order to be successful, I'm going to learn to have to, I'm going to have to learn, I'm going to have a new wardrobe. I'm going to have to learn to be more eloquent. I'm going to have to learn, I'm going to have to do all these things in order to be successful. And so what would happen is every time I would see a woman who was successful, who didn't have the thing that I had told myself I was not allowed to be successful until I had, that person really bugged me a lot. Because like, how come you're not supposed, you can't be successful. You don't have the thing I've told myself I have to wait until I have in order to be successful. And so then we don't like the person because it's not fair that they have the thing when in fact it should be evidence. She can do it, I can do it. We're constantly comparing ourselves instead of being so excited about the fact we could be anything and it works. We can be tall, short, thin, round. We can be blonde, brunette. We can be redhead. We can be curly haired, long haired, straight haired. We can have a little nose, a big nose, a turned up nose, flat nose. We can have big eyes, little eyes, long lashes, no lashes, big lips, little lips, big hips, tiny hips, no hips, big butts, no butts. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. We're perfect, but we're looking at certain types. Got to look like this. I'm going to change my hair to look like this. I'm going to change my face to look like this. I'm going to change my this to look like this because only then I'll be worthy of blah, 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 blah. When in fact, if we realize it is our differences that actually make us continue to be so extraordinary. Our sameness is beautiful because the fact that we're all women gives us this thing where we get to say, we share something, but our differences are actually what make us able to believe that this is all possible, because the more of us that are different that do this, the better. We need different. We need to see everybody different. It needs to be every single person as different as they can be, succeeding in every single way that they want, so that we can stop doubting once and for all that there's one version of us that wouldn't make it. This is the work. What if we just all get to make it? Whatever that looks like to us, because success doesn't even look the same to all of us. You might look at a person's version of success and think, I would never even want that. And then you might go ahead and judge the person for going after that instead of going, how incredible that there's different versions of success. We've been taught to compare ourselves so much. What I want in this masterclass is that we honor ourselves. I feel like what is missing in womanhood is the honor of womanhood. To be proud to be a woman, to feel like it's an honor. And that's difficult because there's a lot of places in the world where it's very, very difficult to be a woman. But until we honor it, it's going to be hard to change that. We need to celebrate and honor what it means, because we're the only people who can do that. We have to celebrate this gender. It is our job, our responsibility, our mission on earth to celebrate and honor being a woman. That's how we change it. And we're not going to get there by tearing each other down or by constantly comparing ourselves to everything we think we should be. It's just not going to work. So this is a big segment of this masterclass, day one. I realized something about women that's the number one reason we feel we don't belong. And it's that from the very young age, we were taught that it's important to be nice, right? Sugar and spice and everything nice. That's what girls are made of. You've got to be nice. You've got to be a good girl. What does that even mean? When you're a kid, what does it mean to be nice? It means you're not loud. You do what you're told. You listen to the rules. You don't take up all the space. You give. You share your stuff. You forgive right away. You say, I'm sorry, very fast, right away. You just do what you're told, basically. That's how you be a good girl. You be nice. And we're taught from a very young age that when we're nice, we're rewarded. And if we're not nice, we're punished. Don't do that, because if you're not nice, you'll go straight to bed. You won't be able to have dessert. You won't be able to see your friends on the weekend. You're gonna go right to your room. You're gonna go to bed early. Santa's not coming. Whatever it is that it was to say, if you don't behave, this is what's going to be taken away. This is what it is. So this is how you educate a small child that doesn't understand themselves yet. And you, based on the bandwidth of the parent, let's just be very clear about that. So as the parent, you decide what your bandwidth is for your child's emotional outbursts, and you will create rules in order for the child to fit within that bandwidth. If you don't have a lot of energy today, the rules are a little tighter. When you're feeling a little bit open today, well, it's not so bad. But on the days where you're short-tempered and you don't have energy for this, nobody is getting anything unless everybody's quiet now. And so it's not even about the person. It's not even about the child. It's about the bandwidth of the guardian, of the parent in the moment, to say, today, I don't have time for this. Today, I don't have patience for this. And so you need to behave properly or I will revoke your privileges. This is the dynamic of being a child. I don't know yet what the correct way to raise a child is, because I don't have children. But what I do know is that there is a sincere piece missing between the part where we are a child that needs to be well behaved and the part where we are a woman that needs to understand that being nice is the most dangerous thing we can be for everybody. Being nice is the biggest lie. It's like we were born volcanoes, sleeping volcanoes. There's a fire inside. And it's a big one. It's destructive. Like, it's a big freaking fire. And we were told, listen, we're not going to tell anybody about this fire. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to just act like you're a mountain. You're going to be like a mountain. We're going to cover you in green grass and flowers. And we are going to tell everybody that you are safe, that there is absolutely nothing to fear around you, and you will make sure to be like a mountain your entire life. You will make sure that no one knows that there's a fire underneath there. You will be quiet about this fire, and when you feel like it could erupt, you will be even more quiet. We will not tell anyone about this fire, or else no one will create a village around you, and you will be alone. So you will act like a mountain all of your life. And we are terrified of this fire, ashamed of the fire, terrified of the fire, because we know that there's a village at the base of it and no one is equipped to know how to handle our fire. And if we ever did erupt, we would hurt everyone that lived in the village at the base of the fire. Everyone. So we're careful about everything. And it chips away at every single piece that we have. And when we see volcanoes erupting free in the world, oh my gosh, it's the hardest thing. But we don't want to harm anybody because we're nice. And so we even sometimes forget we're sleeping volcanoes. For a lot of us, we've actually come to believe for a second that we are a mountain with no fire, and it is the biggest lie. Because our fire is part of our magic. What I want in this masterclass is not only for you to make peace with the fire inside of you, but for us to learn together how to educate the world, how to live at the base of a sleeping volcano. Because the truth is, there are villages at the bases of volcanoes on the planet, and people know when it's time to move. It does not work to just tell women to pretend that there's no fire until they erupt and eradicate a whole village, and then be told that they're mean because they did the very thing a volcano does, which is erupt sometimes. If you spend your entire life trying to contain the very essence of who you are, you'll never find out who you are. There's more to us than what we've been showing. And what I find sad is that we're just not taught how to handle the fire. Wouldn't it be wiser to explain to us or to show us how to handle these feelings that come up when they come up, instead of making us feel so guilty about having it? In your life, full transparency, who here, all honesty, has pretended there's no fire in at least one situation or another, just to avoid being not liked, just to avoid being not fired, just to avoid not being broken up with, just to avoid not being, you name it? Look, this can't last. How are we supposed to even evolve? Look at this. Because if I'm really me, they won't like me, they won't get me, they won't. But what's so unfair about all this is that if we were just taught how to handle the fire, then we could handle each other's fire, and then we wouldn't have to do this to each other. Because here's where the biggest issue is. The biggest issue is we try to contain the fire so much out of fear that we'll be misunderstood, that we won't be liked, you name it, we'll be fired, we'll be broken up with, our friends are going to leave us, you name it, whatever it is that you're afraid of. And then your friend's volcano erupts and you're like, how dare you? How dare you? Do you know how hard it is for me to contain this? You think I don't want to erupt? You think I don't want to yell sometimes? You think I don't want to be rude sometimes? But I don't. For you. For you. I give you everything. I do everything for you. I'm so careful for you. How can you erupt on me when I spend my entire life trying not to erupt on you? It's not fair. And so this is where the bitterness and the resentfulness and all of the anger starts to build up. So I'm going to ask you another question in all of the honesty and all of the truth. Have you gone beyond your boundaries? So far beyond your boundaries, being nice when you didn't want to be nice, so much, but then one day someone crossed your boundaries and they got the wrath of every single time you went beyond your boundaries, and a dragon version of you came out, like the worst of you, like you could not keep it in anymore. You lost it, and that person got the worst of you, right? Oops. So it's like playing Russian roulette. Like, I'm going to be nice, 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 I'm going to be nice. Nope, you're the one today. You're getting the worst of it. Oops, sorry. No, okay, I'm nice. I forgot. Sorry, I feel so guilty. I feel so bad. Oh my gosh, I'm terrible. Oh my gosh, okay, self-deprecating, terrible. I'm terrible. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so nice. I'm going to be so nice. I'm so nice. Overgiving, making up for it. I'm so nice. 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 Someone gets the worst. Ah! Oh my gosh. This is not healthy. Ladies, this is not healthy. So why aren't we taught emotional intelligence? Why aren't we taught about our hormones? Why aren't we taught how to communicate when we're upset? Why aren't we taught all these things fundamentally in life? Why is this not like the forefront of the most important thing on the planet? I don't know. But who's supposed to change that? Who's the one matriarch of the planet who's going to say, okay, women, enough. From this point forward, this is how we're going to do, and so be it. Like, who are we waiting for? Who's going to be the one that says we're changing things? Why not us? Why not us? What would happen if we actually said, there's a reason that we're able to connect with women from all over the place. There's a reason we're able to connect with each other like this. History has shown us when people can connect with each other, times change, because we're actually able to realize how the same we are. You know what makes us the most isolated in this entire life? The greatest lie that has actually kept us from evolving is that we're in competition. That's the lie. because then we don't come together for a solution. Just keep fighting each other for whoever is the best. If we were to actually sit in a circle, all of us, and look at each other in the face and say, have you ever felt this? And look at the face of every single woman as she says, yes, we would have to change something, wouldn't we? Be like, I thought I was the only one, yet here's 1,000 people going, I feel this as well. Womanhood is extraordinary. Like, we are, let's just put it this way. If there was no fear of us, there would have never been a reason to try to control any of it. If there was no reason to fear it, there would have been no reason to try to tame it. This fire, it's huge. And we're seeing women do the most extraordinary things on the planet right now. And instead of celebrating it and seeing it like a sign of emancipation, we see it as they're better than us. They're different than us. They're not. They're leading the freaking way. But again, if there's a fight, then we don't evolve. So, super honest question once more. I asked you your experience of what you wish womanhood would be like. And a lot of you gave me the same thing. Like, it's the same thing. We want the same thing. Yet, have you ever really walked into a room that was exactly the way you feel womanhood should be? Ever in your whole entire life? Have you ever found a place that was exactly? And if you have, and this has happened, on a scale of 1 to 10, how often do those spaces exist for you? 10 being they're always there, 1 being they're never there. How often do you experience walking into a group of women and it feels the way you think it should feel? Not enough. Like that. So as you start to curate your experience of your life, of womanhood, of these conversations, you're going to see there are some pretty extraordinary rooms that you can be in. But as the planet experiences womanhood, we are not pleasant. We tear each other down. We lie about each other. We manipulate each other. We bully each other. We shame each other. It's not good. So we have these ideals of what womanhood should be, but our greatest issue is we keep waiting for someone to invite us into one of those rooms. And so there's something I realized for myself that really changed the world for me. It changed everything. It changed my life in relationships with friends, with my partner, in business. Like, it changed everything. And this is what I realized. Belonging is something you bring into the room with you. It's not something you find once you get there. It's something you're supposed to bring. If I bring my belonging and you bring your belonging and you bring your belonging, we'll sit together and there'll be nothing missing. But if I show up and expect that you brought my belonging and you didn't, then I'm the one without. And I will blame you for that because it will feel like someone else should have brought my belonging to this place. But belonging is a thing you bring with you. We're just not taught that. And of course we're not, because can you imagine what would happen if we were all taught to bring our belonging to the room? If we were taught to not fight and not blame each other when someone's belonging is missing, that in fact, it was our responsibility to bring it ourselves. Can you imagine what kind of connection and sisterhood we would create, the bonds that would be created if we actually brought back the sacredness of womanhood and everyone was self-responsible to bring their belonging and no one was trying to take away someone's power, what we might be able to do together? It's kind of like, when you think about it, it's so sad that that's not the reality. But can you even imagine a world where every room you walk in and there's a woman there, you feel like, oh, good. Wouldn't that be a different world? Hey, there's women here. Hey, hi. To immediately belong because you bring your belonging. What would we even be? How could we even lack anything? And to not see our differences as problems, but instead think, I'm going to learn something today. To not see our similarities as issues, to be like, oh my gosh, like so much the same, so much different, instead of she's just like me, she's copying me. Which one's going to be the better version if we're so the same? How do I have an edge up? Why do you need an edge up? Where do all these things come from? Where does this even come from? Being a good girl, being well behaved, trying to pretend that you don't have a fire, being so caught up in trying to remember to not show anyone you have a fire that you forget your belonging, which is the most important part. So the internet is causing some issues because in a place where we feel we don't belong, and we've now attached belonging to visibility, we're saying the more people see me, the more I belong. The more people like me, the more I belong, which means our belonging isn't even our creation anymore. We're giving away all of the power. In this masterclass, I want you to experience something like you've never experienced before. I want you to bring your belonging to this masterclass. How you do that is you're going to own your fire in this space 100%. Whatever it is you think, if someone knew it about you, they would like you less, I want you to tell us what that is right away. Whatever you're so proud of that you think, I can't tell people about that, they'll think I'm boasting. I also want you to tell us that. The ugliest thing and the most beautiful thing, the two things you usually wouldn't say because you would try to be normal in order to fit in order to belong. I want the thing you think people don't want to hear about you because it's too great, and the thing you think people don't want to hear about you because it's too bad. And the biggest thing, you're going to do it in the Facebook group so that we can actually anchor this in. It's going to be your first coursework from the beginning of this program. But the bigger thing behind all this is you're not going to write this in order to be seen. You're going to write this because this is what bringing your belonging is. If you notice other people writing things you feel like you want to comment and you want to share and you want it, that's fantastic. But this is a big room. There's a lot of people in this room. And it is possible that your thing won't be seen. It's possible that people won't comment on it. Notice your experience of that. Because tomorrow we're going to go into that. The only way we're actually fully liberated, like untethered, like free, is when we decide what makes us belong, what makes us good enough, what makes us worthy of being somewhere where no one else has that vote on us. No one gets to say you belong here or you don't. We decide. And for that, we're going to have to take up more space. And the biggest thing that needs to happen is claim the freaking fire. I don't know. Look, listen, I have thought about this so many times. Like, why don't we teach this? Why don't we talk about this? Why is there no rite of passage? Why is there no rite of passage into womanhood? Why do we go from kids to women who have all these things and we've never been walked through any of them? And then we feel inadequate and alone. We think we're the only ones that are clueless, and we're not. Why? I don't know. But then it would mean someone was responsible for teaching us. Who? Who was the one who was supposed to tell us? Which one? Because if our mothers didn't have it, how were they supposed to tell us? And if their mothers didn't have it, how the heck were they supposed to tell them? And if their mothers didn't have it, who's the one? Who's the one who just withheld all this information? And how were they going to share it with everybody anyway? That's the thing. Like, for the first time, we're connected in a way that makes no sense. It's kind of mind-blowing. And there's a huge world out there. And there's so many of us that need to just connect. It's okay that we're different. And it's okay that you don't like everybody. That's the other thing. Like, you're not supposed to get along with everybody. It's just, why is it that when you don't get along with someone, you feel threatened by that, or you hate them, or you're afraid that they're not going to like you, or you got to go say something about that? It's like, why do we do that? So much energy lost in trying to prove things we don't even need to prove. How much energy would we have to actually do things that matter on this planet if we spent our lives loving the people that we love and accepting the people that aren't our people and letting everyone thrive because we're supposed to be different? So no one told us. And we're quite peeved about that today. But the fact is, if we don't tell people, then that was on us. So it's our job to figure this thing out. I think the world would be a masterpiece beyond a masterpiece if we could crack this. And I've made peace with the fact that in my life, I may work at this my whole life. I have dedicated a decade to this work. And I realize I probably won't even see everything I want to see in my lifetime on this planet. But if I can watch it shift a little bit, every masterclass, every time I have a conversation with a woman, every time I sat with my team last night, just a few of us sitting around the table till 2 a.m. talking about this masterclass, crying, laughing. What would it be like if that's what life was like? Having womanhood conversations with women instead of the disempowering, mediocre stuff we sometimes talk about. Like, it's not it. We gossip, we talk about things that don't matter when we could be actually making a huge impact on the planet. And it's not that we need to talk about that all the time, but at least sometimes. We're told how to behave in order to not be taken advantage of, instead of how to behave in order to have everything we desire. It's victimization all the time. You got to be careful. You got to be careful of this and careful of that and careful of what you do and careful of what you say and careful of what you wear and careful of where you go and careful of what you, all the time careful, like something bad is always going to happen. Can you imagine if instead we were told, you even know how powerful you are? You want to talk about business because you have an edge. You want to talk about sex because you have an edge. You want to talk about, let's talk about how dangerous you are instead of how dangerous it is out there. We're dangerous. There needs to be more understanding of our own intellect, our own emotional intelligence, our own sleeping volcano fire that's honestly this close to wiping out the villages at the base every day. Because we don't even understand how powerful we are. We're just trying to pretend we're not. There's a fire inside of you. Who here relates to themselves as a very kind person? If you have to say, like, I am kind, and I do sometimes go against myself to be nice, and I get lost in that sometimes. Like, I pride myself in this. I am a nice person, and I'm a kind person, and I do sometimes get lost in that, but I am very proud of that. And like, okay, we're not going to stop being kind. I really have found during my journey here and creating what I've created that the most beautiful thing about me is that I realize I have the fire and I chose not to use it because I had other ways of communicating, other ways of getting my point across, other ways of doing what I needed to do instead of burning everything down. And so you're going to learn that you have a fire. You're going to love your fire. You're going to learn when to use your fire. in your life and not feel ashamed of the fire or bad about the fire. You're actually going to feel kind of cool with your fire. There's nothing stronger on earth than a person with a weapon who chooses not to use it. But pretending you don't have one and then losing it and hurting people with it because you didn't have the power to, that's where most of us go. So we need to understand that we have this rage, this fire, this dragon, this wild woman within. And we are not going to feel victimized by our choice not to use it. We will feel empowered by that. When we say, I could completely unravel right now, and I won't because I choose not to, and I have other ways, instead of I can't or else I'm going to look mean. We don't care about looking mean. That's not, if that's the be all and end all of us afraid to look mean, sleeping volcanoes who act like mountains so they don't look mean, what a waste. We're brilliant. We're powerful. We're extraordinary. We are kind, but what's lacking is wisdom. Deep wisdom. And when you think of womanhood, really, if you strip away all the modern twists to womanhood, you take us back like to the depth of the core of the symbolism of womanhood. I think wisdom would probably be the word that is the most beautiful and profound for what we do. What we could teach each other from generation to generation. It's quite spectacular. But we spend so much time pretending we're not magic. We're keeping all our spells secret. But we are magic on legs. The energy of a woman who knows when she walks into a room, there's nothing like that. It's like, wow. The energy of love without fear. The energy of, I know I'm enough. The energy of, I belong here. The energy of, there's a fire inside. And I love it. And I'm kind. And I've learned how to choose who I am. I don't pretend I'm something different. I know who I am. I'm all of it. We are magic on legs. The most mystical, magical, extraordinary creatures on the face of this planet, completely lost comparing each other to each other and not deepening this. So, this masterclass is a reclamation of how freaking fantastic we are. And to actually be proud every time we see a woman who knows it. Not annoyed by it. Definitely not judging it. Who is she to think? She doesn't think. She knows. She knows. There's a future that's very bright for us. If we stop pretending we don't know how great we are. If we stop acting just a little less great in order to not make a person a little annoyed. If we pretend to be a little more nice instead of just being who we are, because the thing is, we are kind. And when you're kind, you don't need to be nice, because kindness is who you are and niceness is performative to try to make sure people know that you're kind. We lose a lot of energy doing that. So I don't need you to be nice in this masterclass, but you will be kind. There's no bullying. You don't need that. You don't need to pretend you're nicer than you are. I want to see your edge. I want to see your fire. I want to see who you are when you're not afraid of upsetting somebody by being too bold, too brave, too edgy, too sassy, too blah, 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 blah. I want you to be you. The most beautiful opportunity in this masterclass. So why not? What would be the reason not to give it a shot? Like, why not? We might as well give it a shot. You might find your people here. People that make you laugh and why they think no one would like them because of this. And you're going to read it and you'll be like, stop it. I have the same thing. I love you. Let's hang out or something. I feel the same. People who are so fabulous that you think, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you shared how fabulous you are, because that's the kind of fabulous I admire, and let me stay connected with you. I want to get to know you in this masterclass. I want you to get to know you in this masterclass. So day one, you're just going to introduce yourself, post in the group, post a selfie of yourself. You can post whatever selfie you want. Don't overthink it. If you want to literally sit in the chair you're sitting in and snap a selfie, I don't need your best photo shoot selfie. I just want to see your face. I don't need you to write this without spelling mistakes. I just want you to express yourself. You're not writing this to make anybody feel proud of you. As a matter of fact, I want this to be the least you ever thought about an introduction in your whole entire life. You're going to bring your belonging. You're going to introduce yourself as if everyone in the group actually already knows exactly who you are. Because deep down, they do. We're all very similar and extraordinarily different. I think we're going to have a lot of fun in this masterclass. If you feel someone should be here and you want to meaningfully invite someone or share what's happening in here, that's amazing. But what I don't want is the hypey, excited, like, oh my gosh, it's free, it's free, it's free. No, like, that's not what this is. And if we have all of that energy, we're going to end up with people trying to sell their stuff in here, using it for what it's not. Just, this is a beautiful conversation. If you know someone who's supposed to be here, invite them. It would be my absolute pleasure to hold space for them. But this is a good vibe. Let's keep it this way. Thank you for an incredible day one. I look forward to seeing your posts. Enjoy, enjoy. Tomorrow we meet again. I have an amazing next part for you. Enjoy your evening, and I can't wait to meet you. See you on the internet. Hush, hush.